Right, so let's check this piece of writing for mistakes in the simple past tense, and I'll just show you what kinds of things to look for. Remember to check the link that displays the graph so that you have a better understanding of the text and what it's talking about. Let's start with the introduction. The line graph depicts the changes in price. So this is kind of interesting right from the start. It uses the simple present tense. Now it's true that the information in the graph relates to the past tense, but in this case we're saying what the line graph does now. It depicts, it shows the changes. Okay, so that's why it's present and it's fine. The line graph depicts the changes in price in the US of three categories of food and drink compared to the consumer price index. Look out for this. Compared is not a simple past verb in this case. It's actually a past participle. It's like an adjective that describes the nouns before it. You often see this form, this past participle form, in advanced academic writing, and so when you're reading especially, look out for it, okay? Okay, so compare it to the Consumer Price Index from 1978 to 2009. So we can see that this indicates to us that the information will be in the past tense, okay? Right. All the categories experienced an increase. So here we have our first simple past verb, experienced. It's regular with ed. It looks okay. All the categories experienced an increase during the 30-year period, but the cost of fresh fruit and vegetables rises the most. So here's a mistake, okay? We already talked about, we're describing the graph, and we say the categories experience an increase, and so we need to use here the correct simple past form, which is rose. The cost of fresh fruit and vegetables rose the most. Okay, that's the simple past form of rise. Next paragraph. The Consumer Price Index, the benchmark, began. Yeah, okay, good. So that's past. At 60 points and steadily increased. ed, past, yeah, for the next 30 years. It was reached its highest level. Well, this can be a mistake that we see in students writing. They're using the verb to be, in this case in the past, with another verb. And we don't do this in English, okay? So let's just use the simple past with reached. Okay, it reached its highest level in 2009 at 210 points. Similarly, the price of sugar and sweets was, okay, past tense. Now with was and were, we have to check for subject-verb agreement, right? And some people might see sugar and sweets and think that was is wrong, it should be were. But in fact, the subject of was is the price. The price was. Okay, so that's singular. Was is singular, so that's correct. Okay, at 50 points in 1978, and shortly thereafter, in 1981, witnessed, saw, right? Experienced, another way to say it. Witnessed, ed, yep, that's okay, simple past. Witnessed a brief spike, a jump, yeah, to more than double the initial level. Subsequently, it was gradually climbing until 2005. Now, this is not exactly wrong. You can see the was with climbing. This is the past continuous. But you have to have a reason to use the past continuous instead of the simple past. And here there's really no great reason to do it. We can simply say it gradually climbed. Okay. The past continuous, might use it when we're talking about two actions happening at the same time, something like that. And here, the simple past is fine. So it gradually climbed until 2005. when it jumped, yes, okay, ED, from 155 to 200 points in the next 4 years. Okay, next paragraph. As regards carbonated drinks, like Coca-Cola and that, the price rose, okay, this is the correct form, yeah, steeply in the first 4 years. But after 1983, it leveled off, okay, ED, good, simple past, over a 26-year period. From 1999, the cost of such drinks saw, okay, past tense, a gradual hike, increase, yeah, and arrive at the lowest level. Well, this is a mistake with the correct form of the past tense. Arrive is actually a regular verb, so we just use ED for the simple past, okay? Arrived at the lowest level of all categories in 2009 at 155 points. The cost of fresh fruit and vegetables, in contrast, rose much more steeply over the course of the 30 years. There was minor fluctuations. So this, you have to be careful with there was or there were, right? Because the subject comes after the verb in this case. And in this case, the subject is minor fluctuations, jumping up and down. Fluctuations is plural, and if the subject is plural, then was is wrong. We need to say there were minor fluctuations throughout the period. Okay, so look out for subject-verb agreement with was or were in the past tense. Right, including a dip, okay, including a dip in 1983 and a jump in 1991, but the overall trend pointed to, yeah, ED, fine, pointed to consistent increases, okay. Despite a slight dip or drop, right, towards the end, the price of fruit and vegetables hit it. Well, the writer is correct that we need to use past tense, but the past tense of hitted is hit. It's one of those irregular forms where it actually doesn't change from present to past. Okay, so hit in the present, but hit in the past as well. Okay, hit the highest point of all the categories, 325 points in 2009. Right, conclusion now. To conclude, although the cost of sugar and sweets and carbonated drinks increased, okay, good, past tense, ED, between 1978 and 2009, it no surpassed. So this is a mistake with the negative form in the past. You might recall that with most verbs, right, we use didn't or did not, right? I suppose for formal writing we'll say did not. It did not, and then we don't use the past tense in the base form after, right? Did not surpass. Okay, it did not go over, it did not surpass the level of the consumer price index, whereas the price of fresh fruit and vegetables greatly exceeded. Well, this, this again is common, just forgetting to put the past tense. I suppose in Chinese, because there is no past tense, it's easy to forget, but just add ed in this case. Remember, a very large majority of English verbs take the regular ed ending for the past tense. So if you see a verb and it looks like something you haven't seen before, like exceed perhaps, then it's probably a simple past ed ending. Okay, so I hope that kind of helped you in terms of mistakes, using the wrong simple past form, right? Or a subject-verb agreement with was or were, and whether you're going to use past continuous or simple past. Generally speaking, in academic writing, you're using simple past to describe past events. And then look out for this mistake when, you shouldn't use the verb to be in the past with another verb. Just use simple past like that. Okay, well, give the guided editing activity a try, and I hope you do fine.